Okay, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Want to jump back to yesterday morning and just take a look at what we did here. So, basically, we did expect there to be some type of bullish push with all of the multiple time frame signals from the low of the day before, and then in the overnight session on the pullback here down to this 37.25 low, we also had a nice, 30-minute, 10-minute, 60-minute bullish signal. So coming into the open, which was right around here, our expectation was for higher. My first call was to try 39.5 here, and so market came right up into one of our retracement levels, pulled back right to 39.5 there, right to the fast moving average, and we got our first push out. It did come back to the entry, but did not break by very much, and then continued going. And then there was a second opportunity on the next test of the FMA that I actually entered myself as well. And then you can see we got a nice 30 plus point rip higher. We came all the way up and failed right in front of our minor, excuse me, I have a hiccup here. We have right in front of our minor eye level at 37.82, and then got a pullback, and I think the market came right back up at some point to retest it. So we came right back to 82, got a little peek through it by maybe a point and a half. I think it went just shy of 2 points through the level, and then that was it. We started pulling back. And as the market pulled back here, you can see we closed at the end of the day right around 37.70 half there. And then coming into the Globex session, we've just been selling off again. And some interesting things to note here, if you zoom all the way out and you look at the whole push up from the low at 36.39 all the way from a few days ago, all the way up to the high of yesterday, it gave us these three retracement levels. We had the 38 here, we had the 50, and we had the 61. Look what happened in the Globex session. Market came down, bounced right off the 38 retracement, tried to push higher and just didn't have enough strength. Came down, actually went right through the 50% retracement level. Pretty much absolutely no reaction. It just sliced right through it like knife through butter, and then came down and got a bounce right at the 61.8. So beautiful reactions off of those retracement levels. And now you can see here we are in the overnight session, bouncing off that 61.8 and attempting at this moment, let me zoom forward a little bit, attempting to break out through VWAP to come back higher, but currently we got a rejection. So rejected right off VWAP, and now we're just kind of playing around within this overnight leg right here. And notice as well that we bounced up from the 61.8 level, came up, made a high, pulled back, and held the 61.8 of the smaller leg right here. In fact, it came into the 38, tried to bounce out, didn't have enough strength, came into the 50, bounced out, didn't have enough strength, and then it tested the 61.8 here three times. Well, depending on how many times you count that, and is attempting to bounce out once again, but there's just no strength to the upside. So this is where we find ourselves right now, right inside basically 50% of that little overnight bounce. So let's jump up. We'll go to our daily and take a look at that, and then we'll dial down and see what levels we're going to be dealing with here this morning. So jump up to the daily, and on the daily here, as you can see, we talked about the bullish divergence from the lows. In fact, we see this bullish divergence on all of the high time frames. And sure enough, we did get a bullish push yesterday. Didn't really go that far. Like I said, maybe 30, 40, 50 points higher. And then we got the rejection right at our eye level at 37.82, and the market's pulling back. So whatever bullish stuff we were seeing here, including on the shorter time frames in the overnight session, that might be all that we get from that signal. Again, being that it's a counter signal in such a heavy market, that might be it. So we got the push to 82, 83, and now we're going to continue going lower. So we'll have to see what happens there. Um, and I think that's it for kind of the higher time frame look. We talked about the major retracement levels to the upside. So those still remain the same today since we haven't pushed to make a new low. We've got the same major retracements up above. We've got the same pocket, that gap that we talked about yesterday. We still have that major swing low around 38.74 there. And then we also have the lows from a few weeks ago back up there around 40.74. So all that higher time frame stuff is still exactly the same. So let's go into the 60-minute and take a look at what levels within the last day or two of price action we have to deal with here. So I will quickly mention if we break out to the upside, we get through the high of yesterday, which was again up around 37.82 here. We've got to push up through that 38.07 to 38.12 area. We've got the major eye level at 38.22, and we've got the high of last week over here around, well, technically the high of last week was up where the gap is, but the major high from basically the market open on Monday forward is over here right around 38.40. So get through 38.40, we're going to be coming up right back to the major retracement level and our minor eye level at 53 there, and then we're up to 38.75 to 79. 79 would be the beginning of that open gap that has not been filled, and then that would bring us all the way to 38.97. And then everything else above here, I think I already mentioned yesterday, the major eye level and the major retracement level being somewhere around 39.16 to 39.21 right there. And then the next major area up here around 39.84 to 88. So that's what we're dealing with up above. If there is some type of miraculous bullish bounce out of here. And then down below, we've already talked about going down here. We've got all this stuff that it includes all of the new major and minor eye levels for the new contract. So those should be on your list of major and minor eye levels. Those would be targets to the downside for potential areas of support. Okay, so that covers above and below basically the last week range. And now I want to jump down to the 10-minute and start looking at all the stuff within here. Actually, the 60-minute is good to talk about the first set of retracement levels. So if you look at the low from last week at 36.39 up to the high of yesterday, again, right, just under 2 points above our minor eye level at 37.82. We've got our 38 here, our 50, and our 61. I already pointed out that the market used the 38 really nicely, attempted to bounce out, just couldn't make it very far, sliced right through the 50 and came to the 61. And now we're getting a little bit more of an appreciable bounce from there. The question's going to be, do the bulls have enough strength to continue going there? So those are those three major retracement levels. They're essentially played out now since they've been used, but we'll keep them up there. And then we want to talk about the leg down. So if we look at the high of yesterday at 37.8375 down to the overnight low at 36.93 we have the three retracement levels back up. And I went ahead and labeled those. The 38 retracement back up happens to be exactly the 38 retracement of the push up. So that retracement level that I drew for this leg up, it basically gives us our 38, right? So I didn't feel the need, excuse me, to really draw anything else there. Same thing with the 50. If you look at the 50% retrace here, it's basically that major swing that we were watching coming into the market yesterday and the day before that. So I'm just going to leave that up as our marker for the 50% retrace back higher in case the bulls get up there. And then we have our 61.8 here at 37.49. And I drew in this little range here for some reason. I'm going to have to go down to the 10-minute. So let's go to the 10 and we'll look at some of these levels a little bit closer. Aha. So if you look at the 61.8 up here at 37.49 quarter, we also have 50% of yesterday 2 points below it. So I've got this area shaded in here, 50% of yesterday being the magenta line, 37.47 quarter, up to the 61.8 at 37.49 quarter. So we've got a little pocket right there. Again, this dotted line is essentially the 50% retracement of the sell-off here. And then our 38 retracement of the sell-off is almost exactly the 38 of the push higher. So we'll leave that up there. You can see in here, I shaded this area. There's a whole bunch of stuff right here around 37.09. So let me see if I can exaggerate this a little bit to see. We have the low of yesterday, the orange power level, again, that 50% retrace of the bounce back up from the low of last week. And we have our minor eye level all right here in a 2 point pocket. Now, was it super relevant as they sold off in the overnight session? Not really. They went right through it there, but they did come back up and tag the back end of it for the continuation lower there. So they broke through it the first time, came back, and then used it as pretty strong resistance. And then you can see here just a few hours ago, couldn't really break through multiple times. This is 10-minute candles. So for a half hour, just could not break through. Eventually got through, pulled back, and then used it as support. So it's a little messy, but it's still fairly relevant if you look at what happened here. So that pocket will be important. And then below us, a few of the levels I haven't mentioned are just our major and minor eye levels. So we've got 36.90 there, we've got 36.81, and then 36.62. And if the bears bring the market down through there, it looks like we're probably going to be coming back to test the low of last week, 36.39. So that pretty much wraps things up. I actually want to mention here, we've got this swing here from yesterday, right around 37.57. We did kind of get through, come back and use it to fail from, but we haven't got a nice breakthrough to come back. So I'm just going to mark that as something to be aware of. If the bulls push through our shaded area here, just be aware there might be a little hiccup there, or could very well get some type of failure right from that area. So we've got that. And then the close of yesterday is right up here by our minor eye level, 37.70 half. Again, a lot of times we see if the market opens far away from where it closed the day before, we can see a retracement back to fill that. Doesn't mean it has to happen every day. In fact, it doesn't happen every day, but that's one scenario that could play out. So be aware that that is where the close is from yesterday. And then we have our major 74 half, which I updated yesterday, and then the high of yesterday, 82 to 84. And then from there, like I said, it's all the other levels that we were talking about up above. So I think that wraps things up for the morning. I don't think there's really much else to add here. If I look at my 60-minute chart, there is a nice bullish divergence from the overnight low. Let me just look on a number of time frames here. So 4 hour doesn't really show much of anything like that. I think you could maybe make a little argument on the 4, but a nice clear 60-minute bullish signal from the overnight low, a nice clear 30-minute signal from the overnight low, and a nice clear 10-minute signal from that overnight low. So again, because we've already bounced from the overnight low all the way up to what, almost 30 points, or yeah, 30 points higher, that might be all that those signals yield. There's no guarantee just because the 60-minute all the way to our short time frames gives a signal. There's no guarantee that that's going to lead to a major breakout. But so far we've got a little over 30 points from there. and we are defending here on this pullback of this leg. So if you zoom in and look at this overnight bounce from the overnight low to that high, we basically came right into the 61.8 here, and now we're finding support. So we'll see how far the bulls can get this if they end up breaking through the high of this leg here. And that wraps things up for the pre-market. Have a great trading day out there to everyone watching on YouTube. And we will be back tomorrow as usual. So we'll see you then.